We are going to try our very best to figure out the 2026 goals of the Cubs.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. We are your team every day alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Later in the show, we go over the Cubs' thin roster right now at only 32 players, lowest in baseball, which does connect to spending the first part of the show here figuring out the goals for 2026. 2025 carried 92 wins, first postseason appearance in a full season since 2018, first postseason series win since 2018. And Sam, I just don't see why, and before we even get into roster stuff, because I got plenty of reasons why that should be a consideration too, but I just don't see why they shouldn't be using 2025 as momentum to try to take advantage of 26, along with the mix of high-priced veterans, cost-controlled young players, and try to win big in 26. I didn't know. I thought the goal was clear, but it just seems hard to decipher right now.
The goal is clear. It's just you haven't accepted it yet, nor should you.
Yeah.
Nor should all of us.
Well,
Matt,
especially for 26.
Matt, we had Cap on the show. We've seen Carter Hawkins' messages.
Yeah.
His
comments last week were not strong either.
This team, they do have a plan. The plan is to be in the mix between 87 and 91, 92 wins every year. And if you do that for 5, 6, 7 straight years, hopefully the ball, turns the way you want it to, and you win a world championship. And I ask you this, and I ask our wonderful listeners this at a very frigid, cold weekend in the city of Chicago. What would you rather have as a fan? A championship, let's say in 2026, followed by no postseason appearances through 2032? Or would you rather be in the mix, almost in the playoffs every year? Let's say you're in the playoffs 26 through 30, 31, but you never make a World Series. You have one CS appearance, but you're pretty good every year, but you never win a title. Which would you rather have? Because I seriously believe that this front office would rather have the latter, and their counter would be, over the course of one of those years, you're gonna make a long run. I don't think in baseball now, Matt, when you look at the off seasons, I just don't think a lot of these teams, especially with the CBA, are trying to win World Series championships. I think they're trying to pay bills and make sure that they're just good enough to be watched and to be in it, and the Cubs are no exception.
Well, I would say the former because of the little bit of uncertainty with the sport moving forward.
Yeah. Of course.
And the current roster situation. By the way, I don't have like a big disconnection with the in the mix conversation. In fact, I can even maybe be persuaded for that claim, for that approach.
I couldn't.
But for this year and this year only, it has to be to go big. Like any number win projection that starts with an 8 should not be in the conversation for 26. As of right now, there are 9 players who are likely free agents after 26. Happ, Seiya, Shota, Tyone, Boyd, Horner, Kelly, Ray, And now Milner, Boyd has a mutual option. Ray has a club option. Not to mention Steele and Maton are free agents after 27. So I'm over here lately, Sam, and I don't think we've really talked on air too much about this, but not only should we be demanding that this is an important year for the organization, but who plays in 2027? Who plays?
Yeah.
That's frightening to me.
Yeah, I'm not as that is more of a
play.
That's more of a, I think, a sort of a CBA what if strategy. They'll get guys, they'll be fine in that regard. I'm more in the camp, and even you mentioning the roster, I'm more in the camp of what is the Jed Hoyer, Tom Ricketts, Carter Hawkins regime? What is that? Like when Jed first took over, we talked about a lot, and he used the phrase, by the way, many times, the next great Cubs team. Do you remember that?
Yeah, a little bit. You mean like towards when he got hired as president?
Yeah, and going through the rebuild. Hey, we're rebuilding it to find this next great Cubs team. I don't think that's the goal anymore. I don't think they're looking for the next great Cubs team. I think they're just looking to be good. Yeah. And last year's a great example of that. And I think that's why I've had a very cynical view of this offseason, because I've talked to people, some on our show, like David Kaplan, who literally have confirmed that that's what they're trying to do. Have an 87 win projection and then try and go over. And so, and to be fair to them, they're not the only team. And maybe that changes because of the CBA and people just don't want to chase the Dodgers. But it just feels like right now, baseball as a whole, like how many teams really feel like they're actually seriously trying to win the World Series? It just doesn't feel like a lot, and there's some randomness in it and whatnot. And I get it. There's a lot of thinness with the roster. Cubs will ultimately be fine, but I just think it's interesting to just have that out loud conversation to fans and think about it of like to me, I believe that if you have the resources, you should be trying to win it all every year. I just believe that. And I think in baseball, it's really hard because the playoffs are random. I mean, it was just 2 years ago. We had the Diamondbacks and the Rangers in the World Series. Rangers won the World Series. Since then, they've been really quiet, right? And I think they're a really good example of Jed probably saying, we don't want to be that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'll take the championship. I want to try and win titles. And, and there's gray area in this. It doesn't have to be one or the other, right? Like, it's not like the Cubs have been dominant. They haven't won a division championship yet. Let's start there. Try and win a division, put up a banner. And, it's thin roster. It's been a quiet offseason so far. And I just think it's important out loud to express the fact, whether it's ownership, whether it's Jed combined, that it just feels like the Cubs' goal, what is this? What is Jed Hoyer? What is the goal? What do they want to be? And I think what they want to be is, pretty good every year and see what happens after that.
Yeah, and going forward every year may look different every year or every winter. Like for the Mets offseason this winter way different than last.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna have lulls.
Right. There's gonna be variance, but at least we know, they're going for it. And here's why.
And there's gonna be lulls.
There shouldn't be like a mystery mission.
There's going to be lulls, but it just
right.
I think the point you're making and I'm making is the same thing. You win 92 games in 25. You have a stud player. Obviously, you didn't play like that in the second half, but after that, it's like, okay, the next step, like in 15 when you won 97, is now we go, and there isn't that urgency or that sense about 26, and that's what you're saying.
All right, let's keep this conversation going, and then also start to really realize how thin the roster is right after this.
This episode is brought to you by a FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Folks, this Saturday night, on the lakefront at Soldier Field, you can make the argument it's the biggest Chicago Bears game of the decade, one of the 5, 6, 7 biggest games, I don't know, since the turn of the century. I don't think that's exaggerating. Maybe top 10, something like that. Bears, Packers at Soldier. Haven't seen a line on it yet in FanDuel. My guess is Green Bay opens up right around -2.5, -3, depending on what they do in Denver, Colorado. So if you want to be right in the middle of this action, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Cubs with no interruptions, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedoncubs.supercast.com or check the link in this episode description. Well, we have perhaps, Sam, should we just declare this now publicly like the Cubs have indirectly? They are now operating 100% in the middle-ish range, and they're offering no signs of leveling up. Like, those days are over. Like, the 2010s are over. The last time they even sniffed the luxury tax, because the last time they went over it was by mistake.
Right.
So the last time they did it like for real was 2019, which would be 7 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And so I just think those days are over, and maybe we should reset our own expectations in our mind.
Well, I think the sport has changed so much since COVID and since
that's true.
And since the Dodgers TV deal, and I think the TV money, not to get too nerded out here, but I think the TV money has become so important in baseball. And I don't think those days are over, long term. I think a lot's going to change a year from now at this point. It's going to be a lot of talk about what changes, what's the plan going to be. But I do believe, yes, I think Tom Ricketts, Jed Hoyer, and Carter Hawkins, those 3 guys together are trying to build a team that's in a healthy spot long term, that has good assets, good young players, and that is just good enough to have a chance every year to make noise like they did last year. But a lot will have to go their way. I don't think being a monster, being top 3, top 4, top 5 in payroll and just saying, hey, the Cubs are going all in this year. I just don't see that happening from this group, at least until 2027, when they know, what things are going to look like, because it's just clear this year. It's kind of a, hey, we got some good position players. We're locked in here. We're going to build around, get some pitchers, and let's see what happens.
Wow. Well, and the other thing I would say about that is, well, that if TV money is such a concern, then people being in the stadium is even more critical in terms of a revenue source, which the Cubs have zero issue with.
Right.
Plus, they had extra games this year.
Yeah, plenty.
So in terms of like revenue opportunities and spending chances, they're not in that same group, and not even close to, like, for example, the teams that did have the league take over their TV rights.
Right.
So we could keep going in a circle on this.
Yeah, I guess the point is, is to just kind of, just.
Do you believe teams are conceding to the Dodgers in 2026? Because they almost lost. Remember, they almost lost in the World Series.
I don't think doing that in baseball makes any sense, because anything can happen in the playoffs. I just think a lot of teams here it is. I think a lot of teams like the Pirates, okay, or the Brewers, they have to operate at such a shrewd, efficient level to be really, really good because of their money situation. And the Cubs don't, but it feels like they do have a lot of restrictions. And again, I just go back to this. Cap said, Carter Hawkins said in a meeting, just build an 87-win team. It's the most efficient thing to do. And then if you outperform, underperform, and it's just like, so they're not going to go after Schwarber. They're not going to go after, these big guys because it doesn't make sense. They're gonna knock on everything, and that just it is what it is, and it just leads to frustration. But I still think they're going to make some moves. I still think they're going to be.
They have to.
I still
they
think
have no players.
I still think they're going to be good and exciting. But you have made the reason I want to talk about this is because you've made this point. Why not go all in 2026? I don't believe they believe in that phrase.
Right, by choice.
Yeah.
That was my biggest takeaway from our most recent episode with Cap, is that this is all their decision. There really isn't anything in the fine print.
Right.
You're like, oh, we need to take a detour this year. Oh, we need to.
What were they in
more
payroll
skittish.
last year? Were they 11th,
11th?
12th? Yeah. Okay. And I think that's right around where they're probably going to be. Maybe
that's where it's trending.
Yeah.
Right now, they have $45 million to the first luxury tax threshold for 2026. I'm sorry
That's
to be
not that much. That's not that much.
Yeah.
That's
to do what they may want to do, which is get a starting pitcher, a bat, and fortify bench and bullpen. Yeah, it may be tougher.
If you only have 45 mil, so that to me is about 35 to 38 because they're going to want to leave room. So if you're at 35 to 38, and let's say you sign one of the free agent pitchers, that's 25 right there.
Well, then it makes this stat even worse.
They're probably gonna have to trade for a pitcher.
Well, I think that's their preference at this point.
Yeah, financially.
It makes this stat then even worse. They only have 32 players on the 40-man roster, which is the lowest in baseball.
Yeah, it's low.
7 of the 32, Sam, offer nothing at present value to the major league level. Hollowell, Little, Neely, Roberts, Triantos, Ramirez, and Martin. Two more guys, Alcantara and Wicks, are very fringy. So they have 23 players in the organization that you truly feel good about at present value on the major league level, which is frightening to me.
Yeah, you're worried about that.
And I looked into this weekend, and that's rough because
they got to sign a lot of guys.
Yeah, by default,
Yeah.
They don't have anybody. Though it's thin as a thin mint. And if Jed Hoyer's plan or preference is to trade for a starting pitcher, which I believe the clues last week at the winter meetings that he laid out is, that's even tougher if you don't have any leverage because you have no players.
Well, it's as thin as me after a bad breakup.
You have no players right now. You've the Marlins. Oh, you guys want Edward Cabrera? Oh, well, wait. Your roster's only at 32 players. They have nothing to stand on. And I'm trying to speak in facts. I am the glass half full guy. But if you're trying to, trade for one starting pitcher, sign one top bat, sign one more high leverage reliever, and sign one name bench bat.
Well, you're going to be going over the tax.
Right. Are you even going to be able to do that? Or is it going to be Gallen, Akamoto, Stanek, and Ref Snyder? Because that could happen in 45 M's.
Say those four again.
I think in 45 M's, you could do that. It would just look a little different. Gallen, Akamoto, Stanek, and Ref Snyder.
Right, and then just a bunch of fringe guys after that.
A lot of minor league signings.
Yeah, that's good. It's a nice team. They'll compete with
They're going to be in the mix.
They'll be in the mix with the Brewers in Cincinnati.
Well, the Brewers, everybody freaked out about their trade over the weekend. Do some research.
Right.
Like, look up their roster is loaded.
Yeah.
They traded redundant pieces for a reliever, a lefty who throws 99 to replace another reliever who throws 99 that's going into the rotation.
Who's that?
Do some research.
Yeah, no, you're talking. Who's going to the rotation?
Ashby.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at this point, anything the Brewers do raises an eyebrow. Just probably assume it's going to be a good move for them.
Yeah, not in a bad way.
Yeah, just it's going to probably be a good move for them. And again, they have learned how to operate like that. And it seems like the Cubs are starting to try to be better at that. But again, it's like the analogy I made the other day. A really great heavyweight boxer or a good one, at some point, you don't have to learn how to be that great technically if you're going to fight a smaller guy. Just use your market size in this regard. Just be a heavyweight.
Yeah, use your muscle, use your gloves.
Yeah, just be a heavyweight. You don't have to play into that game of, okay, I'm going to counterpunch, I'm going to win on points. They have to, because they're the Brewers, and no disrespect, not a lot of people care about them. But a lot of people care about the Cubs, and they're a big market.
They're one of the biggest franchises on the planet Earth.
Yeah, and they're
in all sports.
And they're operating very much like the Portland Trailblazers.
Let's keep this conversation rolling, and we're also going to say a few things on a great Sun-Time story by Jeff Agrest over the weekend on diehard Cubs fan and broadcaster Kevin Kugler, who not coincidentally called the Bears blowout victory over the Browns on Sunday. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, with 48 teams for the first time ever. It's going to be massive, but let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Gametime app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Gametime, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Plus, prices include fees up front, which means there's no last-second surprises at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Gametime today. Please join us live on YouTube Thursday night. This is going to be a great event, and you should take part in this in person. 7 p.m. Central Time this Thursday on YouTube, the Locked On Cubs holiday party. Okay, maybe you're wrapping gifts. Maybe you're studying for a final. Maybe you're making a late dinner. Maybe you're reading, doing some free reading. Be an attentive listener. Have it on in the background. Just have it on.
Yep.
Okay, maybe you're running errands. Okay, set up the Bluetooth in your car then. Okay, turn the heater on. Listen, see the who's coming through our stream. Right now, where this is trending is a record amount of listeners on the holiday party stream, which is going to be absolutely outstanding. Like this graphics is 7 to 9. If everybody is attending that they say they want to, we're going to be on the air probably closer to 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be 40 degrees. So
and I don't know if any Cubs podcast. Yeah, the snow might melt before Christmas, Sam.
Yeah, it's gonna be Saturday's gonna be a warm night at Soldier Field.
Not many podcasts have listeners on. I will fully admit we stole a page from Radio's book, and I could at least think of one podcast then that stole our page from that. But we're having callers on. We're trying to put listeners through. We've been doing this since 2022, and very excited for this. So if Michael King signs this week, Sam, what's your reaction going to be with another team, rather?
Shoulder
he signs
shrug.
With another team.
Yeah, shoulder shrug.
Shoulder shrug. Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm sure.
I think the market's definitely moving.
What is I'm curious to see what he gets.
Yeah. How many years, especially?
Yeah. I like him. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
But doesn't.
Yeah, I do too.
Doesn't it sound like it's kind of moving away from us? Or
yes, it does.
Yeah, that's what I was reading as well. I did some reading today as the Bears were up like 28-3. So I did some reading. Weird year in the NFL, man. Weird year.
Do you think it's wide open?
Yeah, I mean,
I do too.
Patrick Mahomes in his prime,
especially if the Rams lose today,
not making the playoffs. Joe Burrow's getting shut out. It's weird stuff. Weird stuff's going on in the NFL, and it's good for the Bears. So,
how familiar are you, or how much do you enjoy Kevin Kugler's work? He's a broadcaster on Fox and BTN.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I've always been a fan. His voice to me, I picture Illinois games a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But University of, who just had an absolutely embarrassing defeat on Saturday at the buzzer.
Oh,
yeah, to Nebraska. Actually, it wasn't embarrassing. Nebraska's really good, but yeah, Kugler's really good. He seems like the perfect guy. I mean, you mentioned him when Marquee stuff started, if I remember, like pretty quickly after Casper was gone.
Yeah, I mentioned him in real time.
Yeah, that's he seems good. I didn't get a chance to read the article by Jeff Agris, but I saw it on Twitter, and then I think Kugler like reposted it, and he called a great game today, and yeah, I think he's a good I think there's a surplus right now of really good broadcasters in the sport. Fox is loaded.
Oh my gosh, they have an embarrassment of riches right now.
If I remember, when I was just coming to do the show, I think Benetti's doing some NFL games. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you have Benetti, Amin, Kugler, Burkhart. I'm missing
Joe Davis.
Joe Davis is that's a massive big five right there.
I know.
So,
and at the time of when Marquee was hiring for that job in late of 2020, Kugler hadn't done much baseball. But shoot, at that point, he was at the top of his game in football and basketball. Diehard Cubs fan, grew up in Nebraska, watching games on GN, attended Game 4 of the 16 World Series. Yeah, really nice feature profile story on him in the Sun-Times last week by Jeff Agrest. And Kugler did reveal in the story he did talk to Marquee in late 2020, but it was only in the exploratory stage because at that point he already knew Boog was in the mix. But he did offer his services even in a small, for a couple games or as a sub. Maybe he could do that one day. But Kevin Kugler, another product of the WGN generation in Nebraska.
I think he's overqualified for that.
Right, as a sub, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's overqualified to sub.
All right, that's going to be it for the show. And
I think that's below his pay grade.
Yes, maybe so. And I think since he's been doing MLB on Fox every now and then.
We know Boog is back for 26, but do we know anything beyond that?
No, he's only signed through 26.
Yeah, so I think
the channel might not even be around after next year.
It feels like there's going to be a major landscape change after next year, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I would hope there's major landscaping changes. Sure.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day. For those of you on video, we're about to send you to the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast YouTube channel, and on audio, make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. He's Sam Olver. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.